The foundation of our justice seeking and our desire to live justly is this biblical idea of shalom, the time and the place where God restores all broken things unto himself. The reality is we can't see shalom without the restoration of broken creation. And right now our creation is groaning. The environmental degradation happening in the world, happening in the US, happening in the global south is severe. Seeking justice it requires caring for God's creation. The way our lifestyles impact the earth always have a cost. Nothing that we do just happens independent of other people or other places. We live in a world right now where the ways we live, the industries we're dependent on, the economies that we've built are all dependent on the earth and on a thriving and healthy creation. The reality is, though, that the decisions we make that are negative and that degrade creation and degrade the environment impact people. I remember visiting my colleague from Micah Challenge in Uganda and talking about the hunger that his community was facing at the time, and he was telling me about how hard it is to be in church and look to your right and look to your left and see people who have not had enough food to eat. It seemed like an obvious question, why are people hungry? But his answer really struck me. It wasn't that there wasn't enough food. For 3 years, unpredictable weather patterns meant that the harvest was nearly nothing. He was well aware of the fact that the ways that we engage the environment as societies and as individuals have an impact on real people's lives, on hunger, have an impact on people's access to water. One of the driving forces for environmental degradation that is directly linked to our lifestyles and our culture is our demand for cheap, quick things. As a culture, we want things now, we want things fast, and we want things really cheap. When we measure the true cost of the products that we so often use, the degradation of the environment is so severe that something that's really cheap might actually be very expensive. Land use, water degradation, scarcity of water, these are all issues that impact people in extreme poverty, people living in oppression. Lack of access to clean water, lack of access to arable land, those are also environmental issues that are directly related to the behavior and the actions of corporations, perhaps or even corporations that I support, unknowingly or knowingly. So there's a responsibility, if I want to live justly, to know where my things are coming from, to know how it impacts God's earth for its own sake, and to know how it impacts my brothers and sisters around the world, because oftentimes they are the ones most severely negatively impacted by environmental degradation. In seeking to live justly, we care for creation's sake. We care for creation because God created this earth and put humans at the helm of caring for and nurturing and seeing the flourishing of his creation. We also care for creation because in our modern world, through globalization, through all the ways we're connected to each other, there is simply no way to care for the oppressed without caring for creation. The two are so interconnected in our world today, we can't do one without being mindful of the other.